Today is grill replacement day and fang light install day on the new Toyota Tacoma. Well, new to me. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna replace the grill, of course, and I'm gonna put some different fog lights or fang lights with lights in them. But I'm gonna run through this real quick as to what you have to take off, because I've done it before, so I don't wanna reinvent the whole video. I'll put a link down below to the full video if you wanna see that in more detail. But up top, of course, disconnect the battery, always. Over here, we're gonna remove, and it doesn't matter what intake you have. I've got the Banks intake, of course, but we're gonna pull this piece off here because we're gonna need access to a bolt down below. Pretty simple to do. Push these little pins in and pull it right off. Across the front, and this is kind of optional part of it, you can remove this whole piece if you want. And all you have to do is push down on these pins. Here, there, there, there. Here, you have to remove this one and this one because it attaches to the front part of the bumper, or the face of the truck, if you will. And then this one, again, if you want to remove the whole thing. I probably will do that this time around, because when I go to put the front back on, you have to make sure that these little things here, this bracket piece, whatever, is above the grill. And why fight that when you're holding on to this whole thing and trying to put it back on? Not that it's heavy, it's just cumbersome. So once you have that done, there are screws here, here, and then there's one right under here. That's why we have to take this piece off. Now, over on the sides, there is a little bit in the fender wells, and this varies depending on what trim level you have. And the other video will show this for the TRD version, where you have the fender flares, because you have to kind of pull those out a little bit to disengage them from the front end of the truck itself. To this, or for this, it looks to me like this part here, which would be the full fender flare on the other trim, the TRD version, just stays on the front of the truck. But we'll find out, I don't really know. Under here, you've got a few screws. There's one right down here. You need to remove that screw. And then right up here, you have another. And that, of course, is separating the fender liner from the front of the truck, because you have to pull this off, right? And then you have these little push pinish like things. You just turn that counterclockwise or clockwise, it doesn't matter, so that it's horizontal, and then these just pull out. And then these little brackets that fit over this piece, you just slide off. Same thing on the other side, and what that does is release the inner fender liner from the front of the truck. Now, we do of course have a couple of things to do underneath. Let's take a look at that. Should have brought my screwdriver or a wrench with me so I could have done this right now while I'm already down here, but I didn't. You've got a couple of screws down here. You'll see one right here, and this is what attaches to the front part of the truck. But you have one here, and I believe right here. You'll want to go ahead and remove those. And then over here, you've got a screw right here, and then up underneath right here, you have another that you need to remove as well. And that's it. Once you have all of that done, and let's go back up to the top, you want to go ahead and lift up on these bracket areas, because they kind of fit over a little nub. So you lift this up here, here, and then the one that's under here looks the same as the other side. And that will free the grill, if you will, or the whole front part of the truck, so that you can just grab it and pull it off. And it comes off pretty darn easily. Now, one other thing, you've got wires here you want to disconnect, and depending, I think there are two or three, but you want to go ahead, push the pin down, pull these connectors off so that you can separate them from the grill itself. And that's it. Pull it off and you're ready to go ahead and separate the grill. and put the new grill in, and in my case, like I mentioned, the fog lights. Okay, just as easy to get the front end off on the SR5 as the TRD version. However, these side panels, what I had mentioned before, right here, they have a couple of little nubs, and they kind of go in right here on the side. So the trick to getting these off, pull down when it's on the truck, pull down and then pull out, and it will snap off of here, and then you want to snap it out of here as well. It's pretty easy to do, takes a little bit of force, but if you're really trying to kill it to do it, something's wrong. A little bit of force, but not everything you've got. And then, again, just lift it off of these little pins up here. You see they're kind of pinned. That's why you have to lift up on these brackets, not in the center, but on both sides. Lift up, and once you do that, the whole thing is going to just pull off. It's really pretty simple. So the next step, you remove 2, 4, 6 screws here for the shutter. Make sure you unplug it here, and then it will just simply lift off. Now I always mark this for orientation to make sure I have it right, but really you can't screw it up because it has to be able to plug back into this plug here. But nonetheless, I'll put, I don't know, a little mark here and here probably just to make sure. Pull this straight up, it's very easy, set it aside, and then you want to start removing the existing grill, I guess. There are, I think, 11 screws all along the edges that you have to remove. Then you can push down on these tabs. It's a whole process, right? I think they're the black ones actually, that will separate the grill. It'll be more apparent once you have the shutter out of the way and you can see what's under it. But that's it. We'll pull that off, and then, of course, the Fang lights, these just pull out with snaps. You kind of push these in carefully if you don't want to break them. If you're not going to reuse them, it won't really matter. But these just push out, and then we'll be able to snap the new ones in. Pretty easy. Okay, a little update. We've got the original off. You just have to take your time. It's a pain. You got to get the right sequence, I don't know, of all these little clips. I find it much easier to remove the outside clip too, because it's sandwiched in between. So just go ahead and remove all of the clips. By that I mean push them through, and then you can put the new grill underneath. Now we have to put the Fang lights in, and they just slip into the holes there. It's pretty simple, I think. I'll show you here on the, I guess, the driver's side. They just go up with all these little clips. Not all, there's not that many, through the holes like you can see there, and it's pretty easy. Just make sure you run your wiring through the big hole so that you can connect it up later. But that's really it. Not too difficult to do, so we're going to tackle that next. And then it's a matter of putting all the screws and everything else back in, and then the shutters, and then putting it back on the truck. Of course, the wiring, that's going to be another day. I am finished. Love the look, of course, it's awesome. But anyway, I'll shut the hood in a minute. We've got the Fang pod lights on, of course, the grill with the LED light bar. I went with just white lights this time as opposed to orange or yellow, whatever, because I've decided to just keep the original fog lights, because why not? I've got more lighting than I need now. As far as the wiring goes, I ran mine a little bit differently. The wiring for the Fang lights, they tell you to put an antifuse on the ignition fuse in the box. I didn't do that. I ran mine to the aux beam switch, and I'll show you. It's actually run right here, 10 amps, as well as the light bar, which is 10 amps, and it's way more than it needs. Anyway, that's so that it can be controlled partially. And I'm talking about the fog lamps, or the Fang lights, I guess, by the aux beam switch. The kit did come with a switch itself, which I ended up using. It's right here, and the reason I used it is because you can push it once and there'll be DRLs, or you can push it off and then on again, and it'll be driving lights, or fog lights I should say, which are not street legal, by the way. They're just a tad too dark, or too light, I guess. But anyway, I wanted to make use of that. So we're going to test it out. I've hooked everything back up. I have not tested out anything yet. So you guys are going to experience it with me at the same time. There's a front look at the truck. Truck is dirty, of course, and my fingerprints are all over it. But anyway, let's set you guys down and take a look at the lights. I want to test them out myself. I don't even know which switch controls the lights at the moment. So let's take a look. Make sure you guys can actually see. I think you can. All right, hopefully there's no sparks or smoke or anything insane. Let's give it a try. I'm curious, especially with these Fang lights and my setup. So let's start her up. And I'm going to turn off the regular lights. See, they should be off now. I don't think anything should be on. So let's go ahead. I'm going to kind of hit the switches on the aux beam and see what comes on. Number 1, no. 2, no. 3, no. 4, no. Uh-oh, I only have 4 left. 5, we have success for something. Let's take a look. I'm in the truck, so I don't even know what's on. I'm assuming it's the light bar. And it is. So there, you got, wow, it's bright looking at it out here. That's the light bar. It's number, what did I say? Number, looks like 5. So I need to label that. Now, let's test the others. It should be number 6, I think. And the switch lit up inside, so let's punch it once and see what happens. That's the, I guess, dimmer function, if it's working. And it is. Both lights are on, so those would be driving lights. Now, you turn it off, turn it on again, and we should have a brighter light. Let's see. That's supposed to be a brighter, like, off-road, and it is. Awesome. Check that out. That's just too freaking cool. So that's powered through aux beam number, looks like number 6. So I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to turn the aux beam off, and I'm going to turn, actually I'm going to turn everything back on. Right now we should have full lighting as far as what I've added on, and I do. There you go. So that's what my truck looks like with that light bar on. I do want to hit dim again. Let's see. Go off and then dim. Let's see if much of a difference, if we can tell. Oh yeah. So you can tell there is a difference, obviously, when you dim those lights so that they're just driving lights now as opposed to running lights, like if you're off-road, I should say. And I'll show you the switch. This is the switch right here. You can see it lights up. It's powered when there's power from the aux beam switch. So let's turn them off. And I'm going to turn off the aux beam switch. And now the light is dim. So there it's on, there it's dim. Just a way for me to control it separately, I guess. And then over here, that would be my light bar. Anyway, a little cumbersome. Whoops, hit you guys with the door. A little cumbersome with the switch as far as how I'm running the Fang lights. I added an extra step by connecting them through the aux beam, but I just like that better than using the ignition fuse or whatever. So do it however you like. Anyway, that's it. That's the new grill with the new Fang lights on the truck. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Bye.